What is up, my little Deinos? Vepsis, your coach of the Helsinki Hydreigons, and we are back for the GDL Season 2 Week 9 battle, which will be our second last battle of the regular season, and we are going up against Mario B and his Happy Valley Hariyamas. Make sure to check him out, his YouTube channel will be down below in the description, as always, just like every other coaches in the league. And if you wanna check his roster, I will leave his team page and also my own if you wanna look more in depth to the matchup. Besides that, what we're gonna be seeing this battle. So, regards to the meaningfulness for this matchup, I don't think this should matter too much for either side. For me, I'm already making to the playoffs, and there's no really reason to try to go for number 1 seed or number 2, besides like bragging rights, I guess, or trying to get a beneficial matchup for round 1. But for what it's worth, we are already at top 8, and there's I'm pretty sure it's already clinched at this point for us to be making to the playoffs. So we are gonna jumping into this. If we win, great. If we don't, it shouldn't really matter in big scheme of things, as we are approaching to the playoff run where everything is gonna be decided. So let's see what my opponent is going to be bringing, and we're gonna be just jumping from there. If it's gonna take a little bit, I might cut it, but we don't have to actually. So I'm gonna check my Discord. Yeah, good luck and have fun as well to my opponent, and we set this in the Discord, and that was my notification. And he brought the Cinderace, Gmax, RILLABOOM, Corviknight, Galvantula, Turtonator, and Alcremie. So I wanna keep my Quagsire healthy for the Turtonator, and also my Snorlax. Those two will be my premier ways to deal with it. I'm glad I don't see Cinderace. Rotom, he looks also quite nice, barring the Turtonator, which I can always Volt Switch out of. And yeah, as of a lead, I'm not sure who do I like to lead with. You could lead with the Rotom Heat, to be honest, because that gets a free free Volt Switch on anything. I could lead with my Dragapult and get a Will-O-Wisp on the Alcremie coming in. But I think I like my Rotom Heat matchup way too much that I don't see a reason not to lead with it, because he didn't bring the Mudsdale, so everything I can Volt Switch on for free. And we are gonna be going from there. I have to be careful of the Turtonator. That's probably the biggest threat that he brought, funnily enough. But I have a special defensive Snorlax with Thick Fat and unaware Quagsire, which granted is physical defensive, so it won't enjoy Draco Meteors, but one of those two definitely should be able to help manage with it. But we are gonna see how it goes, and yeah, let's see what he's gonna be leading off with. I'll just lead with the Rotom, cause I shouldn't, barring versus the Turtonator, have the too terrible matchup. Versus Cinderace, I can hard swap into my Quagsire and get the Rocket Helmet chip on it. But he leads with the Galvantula, which I'm fine with, as he's gonna be having Unnerve on it. And from here, I think I'll just go for the Overhit. I don't see reason not to. If he goes for the Sticky Webs, my team doesn't mind it, because my Dragapult is Clear Body. Everything else on my team is slow, and the only thing that is really faster outside of that would be the Rotom Heat. I guess the Grimmsnarl doesn't like it too much, but I'm okay with it. He does swap out, so something else has to take the Overhit, which is gonna be the Alcremie, which is I guess the best thing he had in the back, barring the Turtonator that wants to take this hit, but even that thing didn't take it too well. Was that a critical hit? No, it wasn't, so it was just a solid neutral damage for us. But I can go for the Nasty Plot here, as he might go for the Recover. But I want to get myself back to neutral attack, and I can go for another one as well if he chooses to Recover here. I know Alcremie at Generation 8 doesn't yet get a Toxic, because we don't have a move tutor for it. So there should not be technically anything that he could do versus me, barring Calm Mining and Stockpiling up. But that's also a reason why I have to start setting up before he can become too big of a problem. I guess my way to deal with it would be my Snorlax with Toxic. But it would be also a little bit annoying to deal with it that way. But I would like to think I can set up faster than he can and deal with it that way, as he does go for the Recover. And here I can go for another Nasty Plot, to be honest. I don't see a reason not to. So I will just go for that and see how he reacts. If he swaps into Turtonator, I get a nice Volt Switch chip on it. If he goes into the Cinderace, I'll force him to attack me, and then I can proceed to go from there. But this Alcremie cannot beat me 1v1. Funnily enough, Rotom Heat is here to deal with it, as well as the Corviknight, cause both of those things yet again don't get access to Toxic. So standard Nasty Plot Rotom Heat set beats them both 1v1 if I have to do it. And right now it would be nice to get rid of it, cause then he doesn't have not that many things to deal with the Dragapult. Even though my Dragapult is kind of funky set this week, it can still beat a good amount of his team 1v1 as we go along. But let's see what he does. He does go for the Recover again. He doesn't tend to realize how big of a problem this is if I set up even further. I'm gonna go for another Nasty Plot and then I will overhit on something. Just keep recovering versus me won't help him too much. Me going for this Nasty Plot might give him that free turn that he's looking for. But I think at this point I'd rather get the Nasty Plot off, and then I know for sure that the overhit on a following turn will pick him up. He might be thinking that, okay, is this the turn he goes for overhit, so I can recover on that and try to stall it out that way. But we are gonna be seeing obviously how he's gonna react to this. So to me, I think he should hot swap into something to force me out, as he's gonna be doing that. So curious to see what he goes into. He goes into the Galvantula, which I don't mind at all. And I just go for I went for the Nasty Plot, and here I can just straight go for the overhit. If his focus says I break it, and that would be fine for me. And Galvantula doesn't get anything to hit me too hard. If he has Toxic, I guess that's the worst case scenario, but I have to see it having it before I feel like forced to swap out. But it would be nice to get rid of this thing. He does go for the Bug Pass. I think this is just him saying that, okay, I have to give up on something, as that is going to be a life for Galvantula. I was wondering if that was a critical hit or specs hit off on us. But we are able to take it down. And now we are gonna be +2 special attack instead of +4. And we are able to eliminate the Galvantula. So no fear of Sticky Webs anymore. Even though there was a not big of a threat through them with my Dragapult being clear body. But now at least my Gmax Grimmsnarl, which has some speed investment, doesn't have to worry about it too much. Because my Rotom Heat, as you can see, didn't have Defog on its moveset. And my Skarmory will not have that either. But he does go into the Cinderace. But this is okay for me. I feel like he's a force to attack me. So do I feel like I go into my Dragapult to predict the high jump kick? Do I go into my Quaxar, which is dedicated check to this thing? I kind of feel cheeky going to my Dragapult, if I'm being honest. I'm gonna go into the Dragapult. Hopefully he has high jump kick to hit me, and therefore I can force him to take half damage. If not, I have Restock, as you saw on my set, so I can gain this health back if he does go for it. He does go for the U-turn. Okay, so going into my Quaxar would have been better, but this is okay for me as well. That was kinda interesting. Like, did he not then have anything to hit me harder? Cause if that's the case, Rotom Heat is going to be really annoying for him to deal with. So he does go into the Alcremie, which I'm fine with. I'm perfectly fine with. I think at this point I can go into my Snorlax and throw up a Toxic if I so choose to. I could also go into my Alcremie, not Alcremie. I can go into my Gordon and get off a Pain Split off. So I think I like better. I want to be able to keep the Snorlax healthy for the Turtonator. So even though Alcremie wouldn't do too much damage, I might as well make it count that it doesn't have to take any hit unless I really have to allow it to. And on this instance I have the Rotom Heat to deal with this thing. And I probably will actually consider Volt switching out, thinking last time him trying to 1v1 me didn't really work out for him. So on that instance, I can hopefully get some initiative from there and force him out from going from there. But we're gonna be seeing what he does, because even if I go for the Volt Switch and he stays in, I can always go into my Snorlax. Even though I didn't want it to go into it, but I can see myself trying to capitalize on it. But he makes the double, goes into Raw, which is the Corviknight. So I'm not sure what you're supposed to do to me to beat me 1v1. I don't think there's a case that you can. So what I could do is that I go for the volt switch or just straight up for the overhit. I think I go for the overhit. That should hit everything, including the Alcremie. Or something like a Cinderace trying to come in. He does hot swap, so something is catching a overhit. And that is going to be the Cinderace, so I'm glad I get some damage off on you. Volt switching would have been a lot stronger play. But this is fine as well, because now I get the overheat off. Which granted did like 20... That did 30% I think. So from here I can just go into my Quagsire. Get up the Rocky Helmet chip going. And go from there. So Rotom Heat definitely like has proven to be fantastic in this matchup. So I have to play my cards with it. Knowing the fact that it can beat the Alcremie, it can beat the Corviknight. And he doesn't have a good switching to it. He had to use Cinderace to pivot around me. He does go for the Pyro Ball straight up. Which is unfortunate because it's not gonna be a contact move. As I remember it. So, from here, what is your best swap into this thing? It's the RILLABOOM. In all fairness, it's the RILLABOOM, so I would like to get up a Toxic on it. Or, granted, anything else that would not be immune to it. The only thing that is obviously immune to it would be Corviknight, but I really don't mind that thing too much in front of me. I am unaware, and I can Scald it. He does go for the U-turn, so now I do get the Rocky Helmet chip that I was looking for. And that's gonna be leaving it just shy from 50%. That looks to be like 55% if the HP bar is fully accurate, which it hopefully is. And he's gonna be going to the Ric Flair, which is going to be the RILLABOOM. So, Quagsire, can you lend me this? Can you lend me this Toxic? Because it would be nice to start racking up some chip on this thing as well. And get my Dragapult even stronger. And you are able to connect that, so that's lovely for us. That is lovely for us. So we get you on a timer. And we get some nice recovery, nicely enough, thanks to his grassy terrain. So we are still a decent amount of health. To the point that I don't feel like, at least yet, that it was a misplay. And I know from Cinderace as well now that it's not choiced as well, which is nice to know. So I don't have to feel choice bandit set and I overly looked at the damage output from it. But I do swap, so he's gonna be going for the U-turn if anything for initiative, so he didn't hard swap. But let's see, he does Gmax right away. Curious to see what he goes for. You would figure by now, by end of 2 regular seasons, with dealing with Gmaxes, I should know that does Rocky Helmet function and activate versus a Gmax form that is going for a physical move. But I actually don't remember the top of my head. But hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. He does go for the max airstream straight out. This is why we won't cause any damage. But we'll see. He does get the speed boost. He gains that, so yeah, it doesn't. I don't think the Rocky Helmet is forcing anything yet on its ship, but I can go for the Roost, basically. I can go for the Roost. He should be faster than me, obviously now at +1 speed. So the flying typing should not matter too much. He's gonna be getting Max Knuckles off, which is going to be annoying. But we can still take this okay. And we can just Roost off on here. I don't have to go for Brave Bird necessary yet, because I would take shitload of recall, thanks to the fact that it has so much HP and Gmax form. So I can honestly go for this yet again, as he's gonna be taking just a little bit more of that. And I could also consider going for the Stealth Rocks, but at the same time the Cinderace could be trying to cold change them, so maybe I don't do that necessarily. I'll go for the Roost, just keep myself at sturdy range, worst comes to worst. As he's gonna be going for the Max Knuckle once more, and he's gonna be doing a little bit more, but we should definitely be in a sturdy range from here. So at this point on a following tenor, I can actually go for Brave Bird for free, and something has to take a decent amount of damage from it. I could also consider Toxicking as well. Because in all fairness, he could just try to swap out here and preserve the RILLABOOM while he still can. Because it's only at 70, like he is still 75%, what I should say. It's not only, it is still at 75. So I feel like he could, but then again he could always go into the Corviknight, so I guess that's a Spray Bird for punishing any really aggressive play from him. And if he goes for the, he does go for the knockoff, so it's gonna be doing decent amount of damage. But now I at least force him to take good amount of damage. And this Scammer is basically here to deal with the RILLABOOM, so I don't mind this trade-off too much, as we do get rid of the Gmax RILLABOOM. So that's pretty nice for us. We are able to be at 6 and 4. But the Turtonator will be really scary if it does come in on this turn. But I think I'll just hard swap into my Snorlax. And then I go for the Toxic, and then we're gonna be trying to stall that thing out. But he does go into the Cinderace at first, so do I feel like preserving this? He has Cinderace, he has that thing. I could just choose to honestly roost off the chance he goes for the U-turn. If he tries to gain momentum. I don't need this guy. I don't feel like I need this guy more anymore. He does go for the Pyro Ball and lands it, so unfortunately we're gonna be giving up on our Skarmory, but I don't think I really need it for anything else. So this should be fine. This should be all intents and purposes fine. So from here I could go into my Dragapult and I get the Will-O-Wisp on it. I could go into my Quagsire, get a recover off. And he doesn't have... yeah, I think I'll take this opportunity to recover. To get myself back fully health. Cause this thing is still useful for taking any one hit from the Turtonator, ideally. Unless it's boosting item. It's still nice for this Cinderace as well. And he does go for the U-turn yet again, so he is taking the Rocky Helmet chip, and we should be back at full, and that should be in a range of even unboosted Hex from Dragapult, or be really close to it. So we should be in a decent shape versus the Cinderace at this point, and the best thing that can deal with me... okay, the Corviknight will come in on this turn, so I can just hard swap into my Alcremie. I could also try to fish for the Scalp Burn, which would weaken his potential body press if he would carry it. But I think always Rotom Hit should be okay. It's what it's here for. If he goes for the Iron Defense, I can overheat it or Watch Switch out. I do have Will-O-Wisp on my Dragapult and it's gonna be immune to that. He does go for the U-turn, so solid play by him. Solid play by him, and I guess at this point yet again either one of the fire types would come in. Alcremie has proven itself already not to be able to beat me 1v1. And yeah, he has Corviknight. Okay, here comes the Cinderace. Yet again I don't mind just swapping into my... I don't mind swapping into my Quagsire at all. It's his job here to deal with this thing. He's kinda stall the approach at this point for me, but I haven't really gotten my Dragapult in really to do what it's here to be able to do, which would be luring in the Alcremie, get a Will-O-Wisp off on it, and then I can start two-shotting everything with Hex basically. Like barring the fire types, I cannot two-shot them unless I get Toxic off on them, or I do get like a Body Slam Para on them. Or I just happen to get them really weak, and otherwise like the Cinderace would be at this point. So we're gonna be seeing he does go for the Pyro Ball yet again, which I'm fine with. And he does manage to get the burn, which is annoying. Which is definitely annoying in itself. But do I just go for the Scald? I think I could go for the Scald here. Because if the Corviknight comes in, I get a burn like that. Same would be the Alcremie. He does finally now hot swap, so he is not gonna be falling for the other thing. So he does swap into the Alcremie. Now if I do happen to get a Scalper like he did a Pyro Ball burn, that would be nice. But we don't actually manage to get that. So that is unfortunate. But I think at this point I just hot swap into my Rotom Heat yet again. I don't have to worry about this too much. I also want to keep the timer in mind, cause while I don't want to play for the timer win, I want to play this out. But it's always a thing that I have to worry about in a Wi-Fi scenarios, especially when it's gonna drag out to be a longer battle. He does hard swap into the Corviknight. I'm really not sure what the double is meant there to be for. Cause like I can volt switch on this. So I think I'll do this time around. I think I'll volt switch this time around. If he stays in, I guess so be it. Then I probably go into my Dragapult, which would be hitting the body press, which is the hardest hitting move. He does stay in. He does stay in. I could also go into my Quagsire, which would be able to eat that hit just fine, but I think I'll go into the Dragapult to see if he does go for the body press here. Because if he goes for that, I can then go for a Will-O-Wisp essentially for free. He does go for the Brave Burst straight out, so he was willing to sack this thing. And it's gonna be doing a shitload to us, so that's not really lovely damage to us to take. But I think at this point I will try to Will-O-Wisp this thing. And proceed from there. Because once it's Will-O-Wisp, Dragapult beats it 1v1. And then Alcremie is also being status, which means the Hex will be stronger. And we get the Will-O-Wisp up, which is really nice. So now this Corviknight is severely weakened. And the Brave Bird should not be doing as much. And he does choose to go for the Roost. He does choose to go for the Roost. And now I go for the rest. Because I'd rather keep this thing healthy if I need to. Or if I need it later on. It's also nice that now the... Yeah, I'll go for the rest, because this is another way to deal with the Cinderace if the Quagsire would happen to go down. So we're gonna be pulling off the rest here, so he cannot beat us 1v1. And if he happens to stay in and not go for a U-turn, I can go for a Sleep Talk and either get up ideally a Hex on this. Oh, that's going to be happening, and we're gonna be taking no damage from that. And we are gonna be seeing what he goes into at this point. If he goes into the Turtonator, I have the Snorlax to deal with that. If he goes into the Alcremie, I have Rotom Heave for that. He does go into the Alcremie, so I don't mind this at all. We make the same double into my Rotom hit. At this point. And I go from there. Not gonna spend on again, like, I don't want to, like, I want to emphasize, I don't want to go this on a timer. But I have, as a player who tries to win, I have to always worry about that. So he does go for the Calm Mind, so this is where I need to go for the Nasty Plot. And react on this thing. As the connection failed. Now I don't know whose end that was. And that might be hard to recover from. So I'm gonna be coming back to see if we're gonna recreate this by any matter. Or we're gonna be calling it quits. And if we call it a quits, I come back and say what we decided. But give me a minute as we're gonna be figuring this out. Alright, I'm back after a few minutes talking with my opponent about this. And ultimately we had a couple of options how we could have gone about this, which was one, going to just showdown and try to recreate it as much as we can. Regards to the chip damages, which mons that were alive, what they were aimed at. And then probably gone like 5 versus 4 into the battle, that I wouldn't bring the Skarmory and my opponent wouldn't bring the Rillaboom and Galvantry because they were dead essentially. But ultimately, since we are where we are at with the battle in itself and the regular season for both of us pretty much being decided how we're gonna be going about it, we're gonna be taking that's a 5-4 win, as in the timer would have run out, even though we weren't really close to that situation. But I think it's a lot less effort for either side to really try to finish out the game where both of us felt like, okay, I was going to most likely win that battle, probably would have it unless I made huge mistakes. And I feel like as our viewers who probably saw that being the eventual case, it was more so just me trying to not choke at that point. But yeah, that's probably what we are gonna be going about this. I will still connect with Ogalbina or Olivia, who are currently mainly running the league as of right now, and I'll just ultimately decide from there. If they say anything else that I'm saying right now, I'll leave a text from there, but if I don't have to edit in what we ultimately decided, what I'm saying differently here, that's how we're gonna be closing this battle. So unfortunately we don't get the ending like we were supposed to do, but these things happen with the connections, and ultimately as you saw, there were so many things already happening. It's hard for us to recreate it, and at this point it's better for us to move on. So thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for the final week of the regular season for the GDL Season 2, and then we jump into the playoffs. There won't be any bye weeks for playoffs, so once the next week is done, the playoffs will be starting ideally pretty much right after it, unless the league decides to take a break for some reason. But until week 10 and until next week, thank you all for watching, and I'm gonna be seeing you guys later.